Hey everyone, how's it going? Hey Luke, glad to see you're with us in the physio. Oh, at least it's getting better, that's for sure. But no, I've never had a slip disc, but I have had back pain in the past, and I know it is a real pain in the neck, but pain in the back, as the case may be. So yeah, glad to hear you're on the mend. I think you're the first person in so far, but anyone else who's just in the wings, thanks for joining us. And yeah, it's been quite an interesting turn of events over the last week. But I hope that your personal lives, let's say, have been good and successful in whatever you've been up to. So where were we last time on the campaign trail? So we had the Austrians who had been forced back and then were forced to surrender by the number one, that was the guard, and they had some reinforcements, which were cavalry, which we force marched to join them. Hey, Will, good to see you. 2 weeks on the trot. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, as we approach the end of the campaign, but good to have you with us. But yes, as I said, so the Austrians were having to surrender at that stage. Ney, with a stroke of luck, was able to just sneak through before the trap was closed on him. So that was good. So it was kind of a good turn for the French in that regard, although they did suffer casualties, which perhaps they can't really replace in this engagement. The previous turn, Ney's force got pretty heavily decimated, so that wasn't particularly good either. But it kind of left us in a bit of an interesting position. Reinforcement-wise, that is French artillery. This turn, they've got one infantry brigade, coming on, and the Allies will have one cavalry brigade coming on. So again, we'll have to roll to find out where the cavalry come on from. I think they were two infantry brigades, and I think that's a single infantry brigade off the top of my head. I will check shortly, and I'm pretty sure that was cavalry, the reinforcements from a few turns back. So that kind of gives you a feel for the ground, unless anyone's got any questions specifically about previous turn. You might notice that I moved them last turn forwards, and now they're back. It's because, yes, there were the comments at the end about units being frozen and not being able to move, and I completely forgot that was the random event. So I'd moved these ones forwards, and then afterwards, when I was going through the notes, I realized actually they shouldn't have moved. So both of the reinforcements are back in their correct positions. But I think that's pretty well it for the summary of last turn. Excuse me. This turn, let's get into it. So we've got, first up, we've got the initiative. So we'll use the blue dice for the French and the red for the Allies. Initiative bonuses are equal this turn, just because Napoleon had suffered wounds in his last battle. So he's almost back to full strength, but not quite. So that means that he's on par with the others. And we have got a Allied initiative. Okay, interesting. Allies gain the initiative. Cool, that's good for them. Not so good for the French. That's that. Next up, we've got the weather. So weather is clear for this turn, but we will roll for next turn. I'm going to try and do all the dice rolling in this area so that you guys can see what the results are. We've got an 88, and an 88 in March is clear sky. So next turn will be clear also. That's good. All that rain and muck that we've had for the last multiple turns is now gone by the seams of it. That also means that this turn movement is normal, and next turn movement will be normal. So that's going to be useful for these last turns of maneuvering. Next up, we've got historical, and it's turn 9. So final defensive preparations in Paris. As Paris became the focal point, French forces began slowly to hastily construct defenses and fortified positions. If the campaign reaches Paris, which it doesn't look like it's going to, but if it does, the French player may establish fortified positions during a battle. But we're not there at this stage, so we won't worry about that. On to the random events, and we'll go for the French first. Where's our D20? We've rolled a 15 for the French. French 15, which is misfire. Ooh. One artillery unit experiences technical difficulties and cannot fire on a roll of a 5 or 6 in the next battle. If there's a battle this turn. Okay, that's not so good. Misfire artillery. Okay. And for the allies, we've rolled 14. And that, for the allies, is Prussian reinforcements. In a battle this turn, a conscript Prussian infantry unit arrives at a random point along the board edge. Oh, okay, Prussian reinforcements. Well, it looks like this turn seems to already be going in the Allies' favour. Cool. So that's that. Dice God spin off. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is a fickle master. Anyway, so we've got. Excuse me. We've got our movement now. So let's find out what the options were that everyone has voted for. So just bear with me as I flick to the next page. Okay, so French options for turn 9. We will be dropping option 3 because that only got 7%, and that leaves us option 1 with 53%, option 2 with 27%, and option 4 with 13%. Cool, let's find the dice and let's roll away. So that gives us an 85. Okay, so 85 is going to be option 2. And option 2 is option 2. The Reserve Corps, which is those chaps, moves to Nugent and holds. All other forces converge in the center. So all of these troops move up towards Cézanne. Okay. All forces can assist each other if one is attacked. So that's the French. Okay. Option 2 it is. And for the Allies, there were only 3 options for the Allies, and we've got a draw on option 2 and 3 at 32% each. So we're not going to drop one of them, because otherwise you'd have to drop both of them. So let's roll and see what we get. And option 1 had 37%, so it's all pretty close actually. And that gives us a 6 and a 10, so 16. So 16 is still going to be option 1, which was the majority. And option 1 is Southern forces, which are, I'm looking at the map, these guys. Southern forces head to Troyes to defend the crossing. The main force advanced to engage Napoleon, which is collectively this grouping. This group here advance on Napoleon. And the reinforcements swing north, west, and try and flank Napoleon. Okay, interesting. So that was option 1. Cool, got that. Back to you guys. Cool. Okay, so yeah, I think that's pretty good for everyone. So I just knocked them with the dice are there. So we've got this main group of allies who have the initiative. They're going to be coming straight down this road, I would assume. I was hoping to get a move grace to mass forces, but it might be battle as a I think it's going to be a battle by the looks of it, because you've got Blucher in there, who he's going to be leading from the front, straight down the road. They'll probably catch Ney. Then we'll be looking at, do the French try and withdraw or not, or do they just stand and fight? But that'll be an interesting position. All of these other guys, they will all be within. Where's my ruler? That's a good question. My ruler seems to have gone missing somewhere. Just bear with me a moment whilst I try and find it. Otherwise, we could be in trouble. I don't found it. Okay. Okay, so yeah, everyone is going to be moving. Let's just check. It's good weather, so they can go 7. So yeah, they will all be able to reach the French. So that's not going to make much of a difference. So yes, they will all converge to sacrifice Ney while Napoleon keeps. We can do that if you wish. I mean, he's been caught, so he can be given orders just to stand his ground and fight to the end. Yeah, we can definitely do that. Yeah, no worries. Okay, cool. So in that case, Cry out if you think I'm doing something that you do not wish, let's put it that way. But just from the intent of the instructions from the orders, I'm assuming that we've got the Allied central forces moving forwards. These chaps here, I'm just going to take 2 of them off and just use 1 so that we don't have huge stacks all over the place, but we know who they are going to move forwards and they'll be joining in. Nay, as we just said, is going to stay put. Then we had these ones here who are going to be moving up. And we can do the force marches in a second if we wish. 7 gets them up to about there. And they are going to get to somewhere around there. Cool. So that's our basic movements. We'll just quickly roll for the reinforcement location. So 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops, 3. That's one way to move Nay out of the way. So they are going to be coming on there. And then they will just go 7 forwards themselves. So that gets them to that spot. Now we'll quickly do the French basic movements. So we have these guys moving 7, which gets them up to around about there. And that's going to be 3. 7. It's going to get them to around there. If we are pulling Napoleon back, bravest of the brave defending the motherland. Yep, that's it. Might be brave, but I know. Wait and see. Napoleon will get back to there. We've got that unit there moving along, which will get to approximately there. And then we've got our reinforcements, who I assume we're going to be wanting to try and send to the center, send to the front line. So again, they're going to get to there. And I think that's it for basic movement. Now, does anyone want any force marches? Yeah. So yeah, let me know if you want anyone to try and force march. Just from me, yeah, join up in center. So you want everyone in the center to try and force march. I mean, they, even if they get it, won't get there this turn, but we can still move them. That way they'll be ready for next turn. But the others, okay, we'll try and force march them. And for the allies, would you like... oh, wait, I made a mistake. They were supposed to be heading over to the river crossing, so they're actually going to be about there. Yeah, my mistake, but there we go. Yeah, would you want these to try and force march to try and come in, or this turn hold? No real point forcing the French. Okay, cool. So we'll just leave the French as they are. No worries there. And so then it's just down to you, allies. Do you want these to force march? I don't think there's going to be much. Yeah, no need really. Then, I mean, the first one could conceivably come in if they got a good roll, but really, so okay, no force marches this turn. Easy. Let's have a think. What else do we have? Not much else there. Okay, I think that's about it in that case. So we've got the battle of, which doesn't have a name, but battle between Ney and we've got Blucher. Let's have a look at what the actual forces are there. So who does Ney have with him? He has got 3 and 4, which are... Okay, 3 and 4. He's got 1, 2, 3 infantry divisions, 2 cavalry brigades, and 2 artillery batteries. So not too bad. They'll be able to put up a bit of a fight, although their strength isn't particularly brilliant. Against them, however, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 infantry divisions. 1, 2, 3, 4 cavalry brigades, and 3 artillery. So yeah, they are outnumbered about 3 to 1. But hey, it's a holding action. Let's see if we can inflict some casualties on the allies as they come. don't forget the Prussians are coming from. Yeah, that's a very good point. They'll also have the reinforcements. Let me write that down on their order of battle list. +1 Prussian conscript infantry reinforcement. Yeah, that's a very good point. And the French will be suffering because of the artillery, so that's not going to be so good for them. Weren't they the reinforcements that just came in the center? Which ones are you referring to there, Luke? You're talking about these chaps, or yeah, so that's right. Yeah, Ney's artillery is going to be dodgy, but for the Allied random event, which was 14, it was Prussian. So in a battle, so it'll be this battle, a conscript Prussian infantry unit arrived. So we can imagine that a unit just got lost somewhere and they just blunder into it. So yeah. But no, that's different to those ones. They were actual reinforcements from a different turn. This is more of a tactical reinforcement, just a group of troops who got, I don't know, got lost on the way, just turn up randomly. So that's yeah, a bit different. They will only be there for this battle, and then they won't actually be an additional one for the strategic. Yeah, that's all good. No problem at all. Cool. So that's quite interesting. It's going to set us up for. I mean, we're in turn 9, so we've got really 10, 11, 3 turns left. Oh, hey, Blook Gang, good to see you. So I can give you a quick refresh of what happened. So all we did was we revised what happened in the previous turn. Then we rolled for initiative, and the Allies gained the initiative this turn. Weather-wise, it's clear weather, so that's good. 2 turns in a row, so movement was normal. The historical event was more about the defences of Paris, so they're not really relevant at this stage. The French got the random roll of a misfire for artillery, so during the battle, one of their guns may not fire. We don't know at this stage. On a 5 or a 6, it won't. Then the Allies rolled a 14, which means that in the battle, they are going to get a random reinforcement of Prussian infantry, which they weren't expecting. As for the movements, the Allies marched forwards to engage. The French overall have pulled back towards this central position. However, they left Marshal Ney to try and block the Allied advance and gain time for the rest of the forces to all converge in the center. So yeah, as Luke says there, the coalition got the best of the dice rolls, but the French are looking okay. So it really seems to be setting itself up for these last 3 turns, where I think we're going to end up with something happening in the center here. All of the coalition reinforcements seem to be moving into the center. They were going to try and flank Napoleon, but now I think they're going to end up just being another front. They'll probably end up about there, heading straight on, and Blucher maybe coming up from this side. So who knows? Ney is rolled over, and then we will see it. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be interesting. Oh yeah, and we had that detachment of the Prussians who were being dispatched to guard the river crossing, which was purely because the reserve corps was heading in that direction last turn, but now they've moved off. So maybe those troops will be free to go somewhere else. Who knows? But yeah, interesting to see how things are shaping up as the campaign moves forwards. Yeah, I'm not sure what you guys think. Like from historical perspective, let's put it that way. If Schwarzenberg and his Austrians were captured, destroyed, what have you, how do you think that would have affected things historically? So, I mean, I know the Austrians themselves weren't really that gung-ho. They were there, but they weren't really as bloodthirsty as, say, Blucher or the Tsar were. So would they have remained part of the coalition, but maybe not have been prepared to commit so many troops, and more just stood back and supplied? How would that have affected, say, Blucher and the Tsar? Would they have then just, without the restrictions of the Austrians, been much more forceful in their assaults, or would they perhaps have wavered slightly? It's quite an interesting subject in and of its own right. But yeah, I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Yeah, leave some comments in the comments down below. But I think for now, that pretty well gets us to the end of this turn. And yeah, we've got one good battle this turn, which is good. So looking forward to that. But unless you guys have any further questions, I I think it may be time to call it a day. Yeah. Cool. Well, I hope that you always historically the effects of the Austrian defeat would take weeks to build through. That's very true. Yeah, especially when they were pretty well cut off as well. Yeah, yeah. I think it would be more, as you say, more of a home front situation rather than a strategic within the campaign effect. Um, apart from the fact that it then frees up French troops to be manoeuvred to wherever they're needed. But yeah, interesting. Cool. Well, thank you all for joining us and for all of your comments and suggestions again. And I will see you all next week. And I hope that you all have great weekends and hopefully get some gaming in yourselves. But until then, take care. Still, this has been a great game. Thanks very much. Yeah, it has. It's been really enjoyable. Yeah, I've really liked it. I think this is probably the best of the free campaigns so far. I think they've been just getting better. Thanks, guys. Have a good night or day or wherever you are. But yeah, take care. See you later, guys.